Cyphre.
And today we're going to go a little old school for you. We're going to be reviewing the Thompson submachine gun and the Thompson M1A1.
Pardon the lack of period gear, I lacked my M82 helmet at home, so...
Now both these guns are full steel items. This one's made by JG, so it's full steel, no trades on it though. But it's basically the same gun you see here, just with this has a different barrel and foregrip.
And trades.
And trades. This one is distributed through Cyphre gun, so they have full Thompson trades on both sides. Other than that, it's pretty much the same gun.
Yeah, well, other than the obvious features, the variation.
Yeah.
But every feature of it, plastics, the metal, the switches, everything's identical. They didn't even bother changing out the magazine mechanism, so it pulls out the same way as the old standard, like this.
And you can even swap them out.
Yeah. So they'll actually work together. Not bad. A little stiff, but...
So now you can have your Thompson machine gun with the standard stick, or you can have your M1A1 with the drum.
Why not?
Which, in the real steel, you wouldn't be able to do.
Right, because it's supposed to... This has a fake clips on the side to make it look like a can, like slide. It's supposed to slide sideways. But obviously, they didn't bother making a mechanism for it. But whatever.
Now, with each gun, you are going to get quite a bit of interesting stuff. Now, first thing, the boxes. This is the Thompson 1928 Chicago typewriter box. Full color, as most guns from Cyphre gun come that way.
Fancy! They spent more money on the box than they did anything else.
This is the box you get from JG.
Just like good old JG.
Standard, no worries.
Cardboard.
JG will come with a manual.
How much of a manual? It's more like a pamphlet.
Pamphlet with all Chinese. So
it is really.
One or two words in English.
Japanese, yeah, look at that. Imagine that.
Then this is the manual you'll get with the 1928 Chicago typewriter. It is again just a leaflet, but English and bigger pictures, easier to work with.
This is just a rip-off of GuRu's
Cyphre gun will also include you with this handy-dandy little brochure of items they carry. Propaganda you don't really need.
Yeah.
So what Cyphre's holding here is the M1A1, originally designed in 1917, used throughout all of World War I and World War II.
Well, the end of World War I.
Yeah, end of World War I.
Yeah, World War II especially, obviously.
Right. Beyond that, it is still manufactured today. More for nostalgic uses. It's not really used in many police departments or anything like that.
No.
It is still to the day one of the fastest and strongest submachine guns on the market.
Yeah, it is entirely blowback actuated, so it's a very, very fast gun compared to everything else in the market because it doesn't have any other mechanisms involved. So it wasn't exactly the most reliable when it was heating up and you did stovepipe or whatever on it, but it worked for what it was, especially back in those times when all they needed was more bullets downrange.
Exactly.
That's what won the war.
I believe these guns came with, what was it, 100 rounds a minute?
I don't know.
Or 90 rounds a minute, right in that era. Could be slightly off depending on the gun, obviously. Now the reels still carried a 45 caliber round. They came with the 20 round stick or a 100 round drum. But onto the Airsoft. All the furniture on this, the front handguard, the grip, and the stock are plastic.
Yay!
With this one, you're going to get a battery and charger. Now the interesting on the batteries, it's a large type that you can find pretty easily on any website. However, it does have a small connector. So you do have to...
Yeah, it's still a 7-cell, but it's a very large cell. It's kind of weird.
Right, so you'd have to find a small type. You can run a 9.6 in there, no problem. And it has a
car fuse.
newer fuse rather than the
interesting
bus style. Now we have gone ahead and put our LiPo 7.4 in here.
But this is a pretty massive amount of volume in this one. It takes up the whole upper side of this stock here.
If I can show you just, where is it? There it is. It drops right in.
So you can easily fit big ass batteries in there, no problem.
Yeah, you have plenty of battery space. As far as the submachine gun, it comes with a full small type. It doesn't come with a large type. If Cyphre wants to grab it off the other side of the bench. This is standard small type. Still 8-cell. It's still 1100 milliamps. So now the difference between these, it's interesting, is in the stock on this one, there's a big foam brick that blocks you from being able to put a larger type battery
No,
in
the
it.
turns look almost exactly identical too, so we're not entirely sure how that happened or what's up with that.
Yeah, it's a giant foam
'Cause
block.
It's entirely identical to this stock,
Right.
but there's a big foam block in the way there, so that you could just move the block and use the same large type battery in here, no problem.
And if you wanted to use a large type, 9.6, you could probably fit it in. Just have to do an adapter from the small to large.
Yeah.
Now like I said, we are going to be testing this on our LiPo.
I must say, this is probably the easiest battery change too ever. Just this little lid here is like handle, pop it up and turn.
Yeah, for a rear stock battery, that's a really easy. You're not trying to pop anything down.
Stupid thing out of there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it works out really well. Now it does have a slightly adjustable rear sight. It just goes up and down. It clicks a little bit. Doesn't go side to side.
Well, it kind of does, but not on purpose.
Yeah, kind of leans over.
It kind of wiggles.
And the other nice thing is it does have the dual selector switch. You have your safe to fire and your full to semi right here. So, I mean, they've done everything they can to keep it as legit as possible.
Safe does actually work too.
Yeah, the safety is actually functional. On this one, you will see that it does have all the patent numbers that Thompson's Auto Ordnance. Thank you. The Thompson Manufacturing Company actually owned, and then on this side, like I said, it'll say U.S. model 1928. It gives a serial number and the actual Thompson machine gun brand on it. Now, as this is a 450 round high cap magazine, it works a little differently, which we'll show you before we take it down range, than your standard high caps. Now, I know on most websites on the M1A1 it shows that it comes with a 35 round mid cap or standard.
But this is a high cap.
Yeah, it's 200 rounds.
At least 200 rounds. It's got that really annoying wheel though, which really hurts the movement.
Like on the MP5s.
Yeah, really tiny little wheel.
Now, another interesting feature is where the hop-up is on these guns. There is a cutout, which is your shell ejection port.
Right, they didn't do anything to cover it at all.
It's just a little plastic wheel. It's a little hard to see, but you just adjust it, which is kind of nice because you don't have to worry about pulling anything back to adjust it. But however, it does have the charging handle.
See brass tube, alright!
It does have some features that are pretty interesting. Other than that, I mean, it's a basic gun. It's got a lot of weight to it. I'd probably say it's about 14 pounds.
No.
Fully loaded. Okay, sorry.
10 pounds or something like that.
Shipping weight is 14 pounds.
Right.
Again, it's just a great gun, especially for nostalgic uses. If you're looking for a great wall hanger, it's perfect. I mean, the prices aren't too expensive either. This one, the M1A1 comes in at about $150. I believe I've seen it on sale recently for $140. And this one comes in at $180.
Yeah, which is well worth it for this variant because this is the more modernized, updated version with the vented barrel and the foregrip and the mag. Which is pretty nice. They're all metal. Everything's metal on those. And
yeah, that's especially a good value considering the replacement mag alone sells for $60. So I mean, $30 difference and you get this upgrade. It's quite a good deal.
And they are pretty much the identical gun too.
Yeah, I mean the upper receiver, the grip, everything, all the furniture is identical. Now the thing to remember is with these guns, they don't make upgrade parts for them. Because, well, with the Thompson, you really didn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
You're not going to put a red dot scope on it. You're not going to.
Pretty sure it's based on Rui's design, which didn't really get that popular with that type of gearbox. So.
Yeah, it is a version 7 gearbox, which is incredibly hard to upgrade because there's not a lot of stuff available for it.
I think it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Now, just like with the AKs, the motor adjustment is located underneath. You have to take the Phillips screw up and slide the pistol grip cover off. Just like with any standard AK-47, that's it based on the TM design. So, at this point, we're going to go ahead and get these downrange, get you an FPS and a rate of fire on them, so we can show you what they do.
All right.
So we had a pretty successful rundown range.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How different they came out.
Yeah, this one was shooting around 400 feet per second.
The JG.
Yeah, with it was coming in at 11 rounds a second on average.
Yeah, which is pretty decent. I guess 11 rounds is a little slow for a JG, generally speaking, but it was pretty good for 400 feet per second.
Right, you got to consider it does have a pretty sturdy spring in it because
Yeah.
it was shooting that high.
This one, however, came out at 370 and only about 10 rounds a second. I was like, okay, well, the motor sounded like it was going up at the same rate, but it sounded like it was going a little faster, so we assume it's the motor that's just not up to par on the Cyphre gun version here.
Right. Now, we were using the same battery. Both of them were using the 7.4
Identical
LiPo,
batteries.
so we just switched over. Now, the interesting thing about the 28 is the box from the manufacturer actually lists it 465 feet per second. The only thing we can come to fact on is they must have tested that with a 12 gram.
.12s, because it's soft air cyber gun, Palco.
Please don't sue us.
You didn't hear that at all, no.
We're not French, I swear. Yeah, you want to make sure you're using a .2 or higher. That's what we were using as a .2 in these for the test. You definitely don't want to use anything lower. You could severely damage the hop-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother episode in that respect.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, the weight of this one is pretty nice. That one's a bit heavier, but it has a longer barrel, the bigger mag. It's obviously going to be heavier.
And it's got the awesome flash hider and a ribbed barrel, foregrip.
Ribbed for birthday?
Delicious.
So, I mean, all around, they're both beautiful guns. I really have always had a more of a draw to the M1A1. I love the military version. The 28's nice because I also love mobster movies and stuff like that. So
And it looks badass, because
Yeah.
it was just badass, right?
Too bad they don't make violin cases for them. So
Yeah, it'd be nice if that came in a nicer box.
yeah, velvet lined.
Yes.
Now both guns will come with a tactical sling. Do not use them. The metal on those slings is horribly cheap. What'll end up happening, those slings will break, you'll drop the gun, stop will break off or something.
Because these are a little heavy for those slings.
Right. Please keep in mind, most manufacturers or distributors will actually not cover that under warranty.
Right.
So best bet is disregard the use of those slings and buy a good 3-point.
Or anything.
Yeah.
Anything not that sling.
If you can find military gear, even better.
Yeah. Although this one's in a front sling. I don't know why exactly. I kind of expected one, but it does have the same rear.
Yeah, they both have the same rear mount on. So, I mean, overall, on this one, as far as value, it coming in, it retails $150. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 9. It's a solid gun. It's fieldable. It's not just for someone that wants a nostalgic use, because magazines are readily available. It's a 200-round high cap. They still make mid caps for it. It is a full metal gearbox, full metal body. It's fairly durable. So I'm saying a 9 on this. What's your opinion on them?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, so that brings it down to an 8 between us.
No, it's like an 8 1/3 or something like that. Okay.
We'll call it an 8.
8. Because it's nice, it works, it's metal, but it is still pretty much a gimmick. It's not ergonomic at all. The gear, I mean, the fire rate is pretty pathetic for a JG, generally speaking, because most of them run 16 rounds a second, no problem, out of the box. And I was like,
Again, you got to also consider this is running a higher FPS, so it's got to stop.
No. The other ones do too. That's the thing. But it's kind of okay. I mean, it is pretty much a gimmick though, because it's pretty much only for people who are running this for the sake of milsim, for the sake of World War II op.
Right.
So.
Like I said, that's my opinion. I really love this gun.
Yeah.
As far as that one, I'll probably stick with going on a 7 on it. It does have a good value, about $180. You get a huge magazine, which are readily available.
Yeah, and a cool magazine.
Yeah, the only thing I have seen, these springs do tend to fail because people overwind them.
Yeah.
Which is easy to do. It is a flat coil spring, and it's easy to break.
Yeah, people aren't used to the large coil springs like this is. That's quite nice, and I would definitely give this at least an 8 or 9, because it's to me, this is a fun gun. I like the updated version with the heatsink barrel and the fancy fighter. And it looks like you can pry this plastic tip off pretty easily with a little bit of effort. And it's all metal. All this metal here, all this metal here. And I'm pretty sure you can replace the grips and stocks with anything that went to the Marui, hopefully.
Yeah, I have seen some people modify real steel wood ones to fit.
Yeah, which not that hard to find either.
Yeah, it takes a bit of work, but it is possible. So Cyphre's giving that one an 8. I'm giving it a 7, so that brings it at 7.5. overall between the two guns, we've got an 8 and a 7.5 between the two of us. We'll average it at an 8 for the both guns.
An 8. Yeah.
So
because they're nice, they work well, they're built pretty well, but they're still kind of a gimmick.
Yeah, they're not something you're going to take to every event. But if you're doing a World War II Milsim,
you're not going to be playing Marines with this, or
exactly
modern off or anything like that. It'd be kind of weird.
One other side note we did find on this gun, when we took out the battery charge on this, it had a car fuse. This one has the inline glass style fuse. Standard
type, and it's kind of big. So that's kind of nice that it had that car fuse in there because it doesn't take up as much room and it's flat. So it's a lot easier to put away in the side there.
Now we will be doing a video on fuses later. Just give you some more information on the type of fuses and what they're gonna and how to spot bad ones and whatnot. But in the future, just remember you want to double check your fuses at all time. All right. So for Cyphre, I'm Dean. Remember, play hard
and shoot everybody else.
Play safe.
If you like our videos, make sure to click like right there at the bottom. Subscribe, see our next videos upcoming. Thanks for watching.